Well, I am here again, Carrie, as Austin Petersen would say, Austin Wade Petersen would say, Carrie Douglas McKinnon. I'm on the executive committee for the LP Texas, and we just want to know, as a presidential candidate, what are you seeing here in Texas, and how is it? What's the exciting part, and what's the feeling? What are you sensing?
Well, I mean, this has been the highest attended conference that I have seen so far, and I've been to about 20 different states in the last month and a half. And right now, this is, to me, probably the hotbed of libertarianism. Texas is where libertarianism has its best shot, I think, of growing and becoming a real national movement. This is where it starts. Texans have never known submission. I mean, Sam Houston, my namesake is Austin, so I feel a real strong connection with Texans here because I've always believed in gun rights. I've always believed in the right to bodily integrity. And to me, I think that Texas represents the best of what libertarians believe. So that's what I see when I'm here.
Let me ask you a question. You know, Texas has probably the biggest, if not the biggest, delegation. Tonight, what is something that we can expect from you that's going to set you apart from the other four candidates, that's going to make us delegates here in Texas set up and go, oh my God, Austin Wade Petersen is our man?
Number one, gun rights. And the thing that sets me apart from these other two candidates is I am a policy wonk. If you want someone who can sell the message of libertarianism to the American people, you have to have someone who knows it. I mean, John McAfee, while I love him personally, he's sort of a neophyte to the philosophy, and Gary Johnson is more of someone with just executive experience, but he doesn't quite know the philosophy at heart. If you want someone who can explain why background checks on mental health is the wrong path for us to go down, that's me. If you want somebody who's going to stand up for your economic rights and explain why the gender pay gap is a fallacy, that's me, because it appears that I'm the only libertarian presidential candidate that is steeped in the intellectual history of libertarian knowledge, Austrian economics. I've read all of our books, and I know them down by heart. So I think that that's what makes me different, is that I'm the intellectual in this race.
So let's talk about, I don't want to say I don't really see them as problems, but you know what some people might say might be problems for Austin Petersen running. He's young. He's inexperienced.
That I might disagree.
He's a razzle-dazzle showman. Well, you know, I'm a theater major myself, so I ain't hating. And a lot of times he doesn't put something forward that is his own. It's a lot of regurgitated things that he has heard from other people. And I mean, while I hear that, I'm going to give you my take on that is, if it's good, it's worth repeating.
Yeah, that's my idea, is that you should take the best ideas from the past. Just because they're someone else's ideas doesn't mean they're not good ideas. I learned a lot from Dr. Ron Paul. I learned a lot from my mentor, Judge Andrew Napolitano. And, of course, some of the best and brightest scholars who came before us, people like the founders who wrote the Constitution, I think that they had a lot right. And I don't think there's anything wrong with regurgitating something if it's correct. But I have a lot of my own ideas as well, and I'm going to try and advance them tonight. But the criticisms of me, I think, are pretty weak. Because the reality is that young men founded this country. On July 4th, 1776, as most of you might know, Thomas Jefferson was 33, Alexander Hamilton was 21, James Madison was 25. Younger men than myself built this country, and it's young people who restore it. You know, we're the ones who go out and fight the wars and fight and die, and I'm fighting to represent this generation as well and do a public service. So the idea that I'm somehow unqualified simply because I'm young is incorrect, because I am actually very experienced. I've been a libertarian longer than any of the front runners in this race. I have worked for the party. I have done ballot access. I've put libertarians on the ballot. I have fought for our cause. I went out and worked very hard to get Gary Johnson on television in 2012, and I saw what I thought were the failures of our people to spread the message in a manner that I thought we could be very successful and accomplish great things if we just tweak how we sell our message, not the principles of libertarianism, because I believe in the principles of libertarianism, but how we tailor our message. And I've learned a lot by working at Fox. Judge Napolitano called me the right side of his brain. You don't say something like that, very lightly, especially to a crowd of thousands such as he did. And, I volunteered for Ron Paul, and I've worked with some of the best and brightest in the movement, Tom Palmer at Atlas. I've worked on international libertarianism libertarian think tanks. And I've spread the message of liberty to millions of people, and I do it every single day. I've been fighting in the trenches every day for 10 years. I may be young, but I am not inexperienced, and that should not be held against me, because the reality is that young people have accomplished great things, and if you give me this nomination, I will be a fighter, and I will make you proud to be a libertarian.
So, Austin, let's assume that you get the nomination and you're the the presidential candidate for. Man, I tried to jump the gun on you. Shame on me.
How dare you? You're going to be the VP, I heard, right?
Well, this is about you, Austin.
Give them the old razzle.
That's exactly right. Once that happens, how do you reach out to, I think, those young voters that are disenfranchised or that are across the board, maybe don't identify as Republicans or Democrats? Because I think maybe being 35 is that they might appeal to you. You might appeal to them, and they might be more willing to listen to you. So what are you going to do to make sure that niche of voters comes to the Libertarian Party?
Well, I am a fiery radical, and I believe that we have a problem with corporatism here in the United States, crony capitalism, big businesses and big corporations get in bed with the government and they write the laws. The Obamacare mandate was a giveaway to the prescription drug companies and to the insurance companies. We want real free markets. We don't want crony capitalism. Also, we want to end the war on drugs. We want civil liberties. We don't want the government spying on our phone calls without warrants. So I think that if you're a principled Democrat, if you're a principled Bernie supporter, and it doesn't work out, you should definitely consider the Libertarians, because we will stay out of your personal business, and we believe that you own your body and you have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so if young people can't get fired up with that message, I don't know what will.
Well, I know that we talk a lot about marriage equality and getting the government out of the marriage business, being an openly gay man who's been married for 8 years in August. Also talking about our ending the drug war and the things that we did 40 years ago. What are the new things? What are the new liberties and freedoms that we can push that are maybe on the fringe or that are a little bit radical that the Libertarian Party can own like we owned those 45 years ago?
Well, one question that it comes up that doesn't come up enough, I think, is the issue of monetary policy. And I think that young people are very concerned about the future of our economy. And I know this because I just did a television interview in Florida, a Florida interview with some high school students, And the high school students were asking me about monetary policy and fiscal policy, and they wanted to know about the Federal Reserve, and I was kind of blown away by this. So there might be an opportunity for us to take the lead on monetary policy issues where we can discuss what it means when we say we want to end the Federal Reserve, and how do we do something like that? Is this about burning a building to the ground, or is it about introducing competition into our money system? And while this isn't the kind of thing that usually gets people fired up, I saw these young people who were asking me about this. So I think Ron Paul probably sparked this, and so now it's our chance to take the initiative on the question of monetary policy, and it's something that I love to talk about, and I hope that we can have a discussion about that while we're here.
Well, we thank you for stopping by with us. I'm undecided, so I still haven't decided. But I will say that I think in person you come across more mature, and you have more principled and philosophical answers that I think some of the delegates are going to be looking for. And I wish you all the luck tonight, and I wish you all the luck in May.
Thank you, Kerry.
Thank you, sir.